Yeah, hi, good morning and welcome. Ever tied, awesome concept, awesome theme. What does that mean? It essentially means that change is constant, nothing else. Can you control the change? Can you understand the change? Can you manage the change? Can you master the change? That is your challenge and mine. Yours a little more than mine. I'm in the last quarter of my life. You're in the first quarter of your life. That is why you can change the world. That's why Evertide is important. Change will manifest in multiple manners to multiple people, but it happens all the time. Sitting here in this college, you're transforming yourself. This transformation is preparation for the Evertide which is to occur. Quite simple. So, how does this happen? There are multiple stages of this change or this transformation. You are going through one such change. Every place, every activity, every conversation, every minute there's a transformation happening. How do you benefit from this transformation? My argument is very simple. If you cannot see the outcome of this transformation and understand it, you will never benefit from it. You can go to a dance school, you can go to a martial arts class, you can sit in an engineering college. If you know what that finished product looks like, you will benefit from this transformation. Otherwise, the last four alphabets of your theme will just overtake you. You will flow with the tide and you will just turn up at the other end. 4 years would have gone by. The transformation I'm arguing would never have happened. Very simply. So I will talk to you about what I know. I've spent so many years in the armed forces. I will talk to you about how we take people from the street, college kids, and transform them to the soldier. Now, if I were to ask you, what are the qualities of a great soldier, a army, navy, air force guy, what do you expect? You will probably reel off a list of 500 great qualities, starting from courage to personality to confidence to fitness to bravery to decision making to loyalty to empathy to friendship to laughter to sense of humor. How does all this happen? That is just another kid on the street, and this is what you expect that kid to do. Look behind me on the screen. Look at the variety of qualities that you expect. And at the center of it all is that human being who's the same with or without a uniform. How does this transformation take place? But the first part, and I'm arguing the fundamental part of this transformation is the knowledge of what you want. Combined with this knowledge is the willingness to be transformed. And for this, there's a beautiful word called initiative. You have to take that first step. Along the road, we will always find partners with us who will help us take that second step, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth, and before you know it, the transformation becomes complete. I'll quickly go over what I think constitutes to the making of a soldier, whether you're looking at courage, whether you're looking at just awesome endurance, whether you look at tenacity, whether you look at resilience, whether you look at perseverance. There are changes. How do we make those changes happen? Firstly is physical capacity. How many in this audience can run 40 kilometers with 40 kilometers on your back? Most of you all will say, I can't do it. Yet, if all of you all were put through a process of the training, you will end up doing it. So we build this capacity foot by foot, meter by meter, kg by kg, difficulty by difficulty, till he or she becomes as great as they possibly can. It's not a one person's effort, it's the team. So in an institution, you work not for yourself, you work for your team. That is how it works. The mind over the body. Everybody gets tired after the first 2 kilometers. You just learn not to give up. Simple. The mind will tell you, I can do it, and you do it. That's how it works. What I can't do, we can do. Try and do a project on your own. Try and do a project with your team and tell me what the difference is. So in the armed forces, we quickly learn and teach people that I am not important at all. We are important. I may be terrible at something else. I may be outstanding at something else. So the team covers for me, and that is how the story unfolds. By and by, this is how synergy is defined. So 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 can be 4, can be 44, can be 1111. It depends how you see it, it depends how you mold it, it depends how you create it. This is part of the transformation we try and make happen. The group is everything. You live for the group and you die for the group. That group can be your team, it can be your platoon, it can be your company, it can be your college, it can be your institution, it can be your nation. The group becomes bigger, the ability and the willingness to sacrifice remain constant. This is how transformation takes place. For over a period of time, everybody is constantly subjected to this feeling in the hall, in the rooms where we live, in the food that we eat, in the training that we do, in the activities that we participate in. That is how it works. Us versus me. Me is small. The us becomes big. So you stop using the word I. Start by saying we. Don't say my, say our. Our house, our colony, our suburb, our road, our city, our country. Things will change. Constantly, this is how we develop mindsets. Failings. We don't teach people to accept failings. We teach people to learn from failings. I want you to see the difference between a failing and a failure. A failing happens to everybody. There is nobody in this audience listening or watching me or listening to me who has never failed. Try and find me a living being or a plant which has never failed. If you accept that failing as who you are, then you start getting identified by that failing and you start becoming a failure. Success is one who learns from his or her failings. Analyze, research, learn, educate, create a support system, prepare, rehearse, attempt that same thing again, and then you succeed. Therefore, in this process, that failing becomes your biggest teacher. If you want to be a success in life, my little piece of advice is please learn to study failings. Learn from failings, not just yours. Learn from the failings of others. There is no need to fail because somebody else has failed. Take their learnings and implement it. Minimize your failings. That is the definition of success. Success does not mean somebody who succeeds all the time. It means somebody who fails lesser and lesser and lesser. That is how life will unfold in front of you. That is how that ever tide will lead to a glorious future at the far end of the river or ocean or whatever you may have. Detail will always supersede theory. The best laid plans inside an auditorium or a conference room or a hall will find it difficult to meet friction outside. If your plan is capable of understanding that friction when the plan gets implemented, you will succeed. That is why when the rubber hits the road is when the car feels friction. Anticipate that friction, accept it, prepare for it. That is what success is. Giving up, that word does not exist. Somebody tells you cannot speak English, get real. Learn the language. You cannot speak French, learn it. I don't know how to cook, learn it. You will never be able to cook like the best French chef in the world. That's all right. But you will be able to cook decent French food. You cannot do what somebody else can do, probably. But you can do 100% of what you can do. That is always going to be enough. That is what we say, just don't give up. Now this becomes easier when you're part of a group. Because now you're no longer working for yourself, you are representing your group. You cannot fail because in your failing, the group fails. That is the essence of how the word team starts superseding the individual. This morning in the gym at the hotel where I'm staying, I had the unique pleasure and privilege of meeting a young man, highly qualified, team lead with a team of 10 members. And I asked him a very small question. Can you tell me the birthdays of at least 5 of your members? He didn't know. And I'm not surprised. Would you call him a leader? I leave it to you to figure out. Is the knowledge of a birthday important? No. But the connect at the human level becomes more important than the theory. That is what we try and inculcate and teach. Perseverance. You want success in whatever you do, persevere. Persevere, persevere, persevere. Just do not give up. Persevere. Success may lie around the corner. If you give up here, you will never know how close you were to success. So push that envelope of your physical and mental abilities and just go as far forward as you possibly can, because success is just a hand's length away. And you will never know that. In the Indian Army in particular, we keep talking of Naam, Namak and Nishan. Now, they are not just phrases or words. They are their emotions. They are sentiments. Quite simply, it says, for the honor of my country, my nation, I will do everything that is required. For the glory, reputation, and image, and status and respect of my unit, or company, or organization, or factory, or whatever one represents, I will do everything that is required to be done. That is the concept of Naam, Namak, Nishan. The last one is that for the stake of my establishment, will I do everything that is required to be done? That is what we try and teach people, which is why a soldier is willing to and able to make the ultimate sacrifice of giving up his or her life. Now, when you prepare somebody for an occurrence like that, normal day jobs come easily. People can overcome the smallest of difficulties. What normally would be seen as a huge problem becomes just another occurrence. Because earlier on in the transformation process, we have made an argument that we don't use the word problem. They are just occurrences now. And in the ebb and the flow of the ever tide, these will happen. So in your lives and in everybody else's, there will be small successes, there will be small failings. They're okay. So you celebrate the success and learn from that failing. The next time you'll have a little bigger success, bigger celebration. You may have a bigger failing, so bigger learning. A bigger failing does not mean a bigger failure. It only means there is more for you to learn. Now this learning process involves thinking within, introspection. This is something we try and tell people as part of the group. Sacrifice, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, becomes automatic. It's inherent in what we do as people who wear a uniform. We don't think about it. How does this transformation take place? By doing all the things that we just spoke about in the last 14 and a half minutes or so. So how does it all finish? I have to end with a quote from a beautiful poem I read as a child, and for not wanting to dilute the sentiment, I will read it out. And it quite simply says, to every man upon this earth, death cometh sooner or late, which means everybody who's born on this earth will die sometime or the other. And then it goes on to say, how can man die better than facing fearful odds for the ashes of his fathers and the temples of his gods? This is why you do whatever you have to do. Lay down your life for the country. The greatest glory for a soldier is to lay down his or her life for the country. That is the transformation that takes place from a schoolboy or a schoolgirl or just another person on the street till that person becomes a soldier. Last but not the least, this transformation is not overnight. It will exist as long as that person is wearing a uniform. Because every day you learn something else. I started with this slide So I have to finish with this slide because alpha and the omega are important. That's the beginning and the end. And until you tie these two together, that feedback process is never complete. This is your life. That's a manifestation of a DNA which is going to keep changing all the time. We began with saying Evertide, so I will close with saying Evertide. The future is out there. Outside of wherever we are now is the future. It is yours, ours to seize, create, and to shape. You have to take control of that future. It is your destiny. And your destiny is far bigger than you know now. You have to believe it is bigger. Find somebody who can tell you or show you how big your destiny is, what exactly you're capable of doing. That is when you will build an institution, a company, a country, a nation that is worthy of living in. Just work for it. That's all you need to do. Just work for it, believe in it, keep the faith going. Thank you very much. Jai Hind. God bless you.